in the Pune Porsche case, which we ourselves spoke about back then, essentially the dad is out on bail and the entire family is like celebrating. They're like dancing. There's like a rupee ka mala being put on, and you're like, how is this fair?
I thought the driver was driving.
The strong do what they can and the weak suffer what they must. NEET exam papers are leaking.
Faye D'Souza had a great point. She's like, I don't like the word leak. It's heft.
Yeah.
Like leak makes it sound like something
Yeah,
accidentally
yeah. True.
Yeah, I had a friend, he was streaming Age of Empires, watching people play Age of Empires. I was like, bro, Age of Empires is going on right now. Turn on the TV, bro. What are you? For a couple of days in the middle there, every day was like a new episode dropping. There were these 2 8-year-old kids, and then this auntie walked in and she looked at them. Ab tumhara Dubai holiday cancel. War shuru ho gaya wapas. She said it exactly how I said it.
Yeah. See, here's the thing.
Welcome everyone to another episode of The Overcorrection. We are back in studio with Puru after a long hiatus.
It's good to be back.
We are excited to get back to making some content for you guys.
Absolutely.
On a regular basis. And I was traveling prior to this. I was in France, Paris briefly, then I was in Portugal, and then I was in London. And you know, Europe is so European for the most part. Like I got into Portugal and it was like, hola, obrigado. I was in France, it was bonjour, bonjour. And as soon as I got into Heathrow, there were 4 Indian dudes and they looked at me and said, namaste, sir. And it was nice. I liked it. You know, like it's easier to it's much more multicultural place, London. And I personally really like it. Of course, I am an immigrant there. I would like a place that's multicultural. A lot of people there are having some issues with the level of multiculturalism in there.
Yeah.
A little backwards now.
I guess, you're seeing it across the board. I think it's quite virulent in the UK these days, from what I've heard, at least from friends, where there's increasing levels of racism. It surely seems to be targeted against people of just a different skin tone more than anything else, right? Because they're like, you don't look British or you don't look English, and that is problematic to them somehow. In fact, to be honest, even if you go to Spain and Portugal, the immigrant communities there, I'm sure they face some of a similar thing. I think when I was abroad there, you do realize that even now there's still a lot of that kind of latent us versus them, and these people are coming in and taking our jobs or whatever. So
I think it's much more messy in the UK.
Yeah.
Because there's less of a language barrier. Because people who come there learn English and come there and find it easier to assimilate and actually be a part of the community. Yeah. Portugal, it's Portuguese.
Yeah, you have to speak
I was shocked. Like legal documents, everything they do in Portuguese. You know, like in India, you'll still find a lot of our legal framework being done in English.
Yeah, it is done in English.
It's done in English. Yeah. I mean, you always get Hindi versions, but I'd say
it's one of the official languages.
It's one of the official languages. Portuguese, everything is done in Portuguese. They don't even have English as a necessary official language for documents. Yeah. Same with France.
That's what I think. It's like a very testy time across the world, and specifically I think in the UK with issues like this on, I guess back in the day it was build the wall. We've come a long way from then, I guess, now on just trying to deal with immigration, and even from the US you're seeing constant changes in immigration law. So everyone is kind of waiting to just see which direction this goes, right?
Yeah.
Because I think parts of it, which I guess is what you were trying to touch on, there is an element of, okay, can we put up some guardrails so the systems are not being abused, which makes sense. But how you design those guardrails in a way that's equitable and fair and just, I think that's a far bigger question.
Yeah.
Controversial question.
Basically, I think good to be back to be back in India on some levels, as beautiful as the parks in London are.
Yeah.
And actually, nice to come back to some good AQI. I never thought AQI would be part of how I describe the weather. I was going to say it's like good weather because of the AQI, but it's nothing to do with the heat or the rain. Yeah. It's just whether I'm breathing in poison or not.
Yeah, it's surreal. I remember I had gone to Delhi for work recently, and my friend there, I was like, can you believe it's 45 degrees outside, but the AQI was 300, and I was feeling, and he's like, oh, 300 is not bad, dude. Like, you don't have to worry about 300. I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's like very, very bad. But I guess you develop, you get desensitized. I think I've been desensitized to it for a long time. And now it's a lot more within conversation, as it should be. But I think a lot of it, I think it's a solvable problem at its core. And there's been a mix, I think, of apathy and bad governance.
Yeah. I mean, AQI sounds more complicated, but it's like saying dog shit on the road is a solvable problem.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's a simply solvable problem, but
Yeah.
getting someone to do it is like that thing about doctors, right? Like governments in this place. It's like with doctors, every doctor knows the medication to give. Like every government knows what we need to do, but it's the doctors that can get a patient to follow a particular medication that actually ends up differentiating the doctors who get results from the doctors who don't.
Yeah.
We need like a better doctor.
No, and
Or we need to be better patients.
I think it's a bit of both. I think it's potentially it is also just very difficult. Like we've spoken about this in the podcast ad nauseum, but people that conflate governance in wealthy Western countries and countries like India are fighting a losing battle to begin with, because it's just very different getting things done here. It's tough. It's difficult. There's multi-level stakeholder involvement, which is often not sensible, but it is what it is. And the frameworks of governance are difficult as well. Like we'd spoken about this, I think a big resolution is just empowering more your roles, like a mayor who, if you look at that role in, I don't know, New York, is a very powerful individual. In fact, most of the podcasters will know Zoran Mamdani, I guess, more than they know the Indian mayor, at least.
And even he now is like having to collaborate with the administration.
And he's also realizing it's not as easy as just saying it, right?
What?
Yeah. Getting
Who would
it
have
done.
thought?
Yeah. Getting it done is very tough. But, good marketing helps. He gives that, early days of Trudeau vibe where obviously people just love him for whatever reason. But I wish him the best. I think.
And speaking of good marketing, have we all followed the Cockroach Janta party?
I have.
Yeah?
It's been, I find it really interesting.
Anti-national.
No, I don't know. I think that essentially what you have is when you have a system that people feel that they cannot speak freely, which again, I don't know, especially if you follow anything from The Wire to News Laundry to any of these sources.
You saw a recent press freedom index, 159.
Yeah, I stopped looking at indexes, man. I think there was one on... I've really given up on these indexes. As everyone on the podcast knows, I have serious problems with the methodology on most of them. Episode number 5, my favorite. But there was a report on economically stable countries in the world. And I believe the US, the United States of America, doesn't make the top 10, which I don't know who comes up with these indexes. It makes no sense. Saudi Arabia had a more stable economy than America. So riddle me that, please. So I know these indexes have their own problems. And I think in India, we rank low on press freedom, even though I would say that you have a lot of news outlets that say some pretty unhinged things or podcasts or whatever about the administration. And it seems like it's fair game. I'm sure there has been targeting as well. But I think with the Cockroach Party, what you're seeing, what I found refreshing or enjoyable is that there's a usage of satire and humor, right? And I think when people don't maybe have a necessarily outlet or they feel like they cannot speak through those channels, like the formal official channels, satire is all you have. So the government cannot be prickly about satire. I've said this before. Sometimes they're just too brittle to any critique or any joke. Yeah, because they believe that there is an onus in India on like news spreading fast, right? And wrong news or people can get misled given the levels of education very quickly. And that's why there's this knee-jerk reaction to be like, oh my God, this like thing that's spreading like wildfire. But I thought it was in good jest. It was funny. I guess the Supreme Court judge had called a bunch of the people cockroaches, and it was a funny take on that. So
what I find interesting is that social media has actually become the official means of communication.
Yeah.
So it is, while they keep saying things like, oh, it's not an official party, it's not an official party, it's not this, it's not that. Sure, I get it. When was the last time you went to your party's page or their website to check anything?
Yeah.
Or did you get all your information about that party that you voted based on through social media?
Yeah. Like most people get it through social media, and what I found funny was they'd put
Sorry,
like,
Puru actually goes to the website.
I go to the website, but I would say like most other people don't go to the website.
And you don't need to. It actually, like, I
Yeah.
can find an Instagram page that summarizes enough positions.
Correct.
Or a YouTube video or something that I follow over
Correct.
a long period of time that summarizes positions enough to go. And
Yeah.
Instagram is the medium of communication.
Yeah.
I don't think it's like so awful to communicate through
No,
Instagram.
not at all. I just think that as long as you don't sacrifice some level of primary source reading, because I do think people take a lot of liberty on interpretation of a primary source. I've said this countless times. In our friend group, or in the people that we know, in the extension of our communities, how many would you think have actually listened to the Independence Day speech or the Republic Day speech of the Prime Minister? Top to bottom. Like one, maybe.
You.
Yeah, me, maybe.
But, okay.
But it's
Would
only
you-
an analysis of that. So you actually have no relation
Sure,
to
but-
what any of
okay.
these leaders are saying, any of these CMs are saying in a speech.
What about the BJP's Twitter handle?
Of course, that's a primary
that's
source.
primary
Yeah,
source.
yeah, that is a primary source. I'm just saying that with something as big as that, when you have an opinion on a leader, I think there is a bit of a responsibility on an individual
Yeah.
to actually hear what that leader is saying.
Yeah.
You might still have all the same valid criticism, by the way,
Yes.
but it helps you have a more well-rounded and
And
thought-through opinion.
And some things like the CAA, for example, back when it was going around, it needs more than 110 words or something. If you
Yeah.
want to get down to what the
Yeah.
issue is, it takes
Or the
some
farm
time.
laws.
Reading,
Or the farm laws. One of the most, I think, people were genuinely misled. Like later when the data came out that a majority of the farmers would have actually supported it, barring a really wealthy section of farmers that obviously would not have benefited from this. It made economic sense. I think Shekhar Gupta at the print had argued ad nauseum that we were, missing the forest for the trees. But I was going to say on the Cockroach Party, what I found funny, they had like what is it called? Like a memorandum or demands or what they say they're going to do. And in that moment, I was just like, at some level, I wonder what like the last, all those decades and decades of Congress would have been like with social media, right? Because a lot of the articles, like their demands were like, abolish the Godi media and these news channels owned by billionaires. And I was like, do you really believe that this started now? Like that this is not how the country has been running since inception. It was called License Raj for a reason. There was like essentially 20 people that ran everything, that even controlled what was going into your textbooks, what was going to be the popular discourse at the time was dictated by the intelligentsia. So if you believe that back then somehow your news was completely this, what is it? Halcyon days of completely bias-free news and no, interference. I believe there's an emergency and couple of bans that they should look at because it was not a rosy time then too. But I guess then we ranked very high on the democracy index. So I guess
And
I'm
the
wrong.
press freedom index.
And the press freedom index. Yeah.
Yeah, just on a pure technological level, there has never been more press freedom.
Yeah.
I think you can say that without a doubt. You can compare today, but if we're comparing today to our past,
Yeah.
however liberal a government you had in the past, people did not have the ability to put out their voice.
Yeah. People can put out a video of something today.
Today a cop comes up to you
Yeah.
and tries to harass you, you can start streaming it live.
Yeah. I mean, in fact,
मैं live stream कर रही हूँ. I've seen this
Yeah,
shit. I
yeah.
love it.
yeah, it's like citizen journalism,
Citizen
right?
journalism.
In fact, I thought that today it was kind of like breaking news in the Pune Porsche case, which we ourselves spoke about back
Yeah.
then. There's this, you can't help but feel so angry when you see the video, but essentially the dad is out on bail and the entire family is like celebrating. They're like dancing. There's like a rupee ka mala being put on and you're like, how is this fair,
I thought the driver was driving.
and the blood was of somebody else. Yeah, so basically everybody's kind of gotten off on bail. So people are just saying that, how is this system fair, right? I think there's the Thucydides quote, right? Like I think in fact it was Abhijit Iyer Mitra who had quoted it when he saw this video and it was like, the strong do what they can and the weak suffer what they must. And like you really feel that sometimes in India. It's like, is this a fair system at all? NEET exam, papers are leaking. I mean, there's just kids are putting their life and soul into this. Having done an exam of this magnitude myself, if I had known that right at the goal line, there's a leak and that means the exam is cancelled and I've put my life into this, I mean, that's the kind of stuff that we need to really be angry about, I think. Also,
Faye D'Souza had a great point. She was like, I don't like the word leak. It's theft. Like leak makes it sound like something accidentally spilled.
Yeah. True. So I think that a friend messaged me this, a very, very dear friend, so I won't take their name. They sent me a message. I feel like this country is just falling apart in front of our own eyes. And I was thinking about that a bit. And I had to ask, at any point in free India, from 1947, if you had to pick a time to be born, wouldn't it still be now? Surely it would still be now. Right? In terms of infant mortality, in terms of extreme poverty, in terms of economic inclusion, in terms of broader development, in terms of financial development.
And that's also
in terms
a global
of health
perspective. Like that's just every place in the world is better now than it was 60 years ago, or some places worse.
Some places have obviously been ruined by geopolitical scenarios, but I would say in arguably one of the most geopolitically difficult 5 to 10 years and more to come. Done okay. Right? You've done okay. I mean, you've had the Prime Minister coming and talking about austerity measures. I think that's like, I don't know how I feel about that. I think that tends to be a bit of a, okay, guys, let's like stop doing this. And there's other ways.
I was abroad when that petition came out, so I went and only ate at Indian restaurants. I know some of that money is coming back home.
Smart. Yeah, exactly. So I think that a bit of that is, I forget which commentator was talking about it, but this is a bit of an old school, austere way of dealing with a situation like this when, for example, they were dithering for a while and not raising the oil prices as per the market, just to shield the consumer as long as they could. Obviously, there's electoral gains and dividends to be gained from that, but that's a problem. I mean, it's always in election mode, right? So then most parties are kind of doing election-related stuff rather than the governance part itself. So that is always very difficult.
And we need a population that says, listen, pause on the freebies, we'll figure something out, but give us a road and we'll figure it out. Or something to that effect.
Yeah.
Because what effort should be going into development is going into pacification constantly.
Yeah.
Constantly.
Yeah.
Right.
In fact, that's what we were always said, right? If anything, people would look most international magazines love to say right-wing government, but this is arguably economically the most left you can imagine. It's like so many freebies, constant welfare programs, which are good and needed. The government has to play a role.
It's stupidly left. It's left to the cost of capitalism.
Yeah.
It's like give a man a fish and he'll eat for the day, but build a road for him and he'll be able to send his kids to school and they won't have to beg.
Yeah. But I think even that's how elections have been run. You still have such an extreme level of poverty that it works. And it's sad. I think you need somehow to break that cycle. But it's such a low-hanging fruit for a government to just say, you know what, this is how I'm going to win an election.
What do you think about this Pali Hill Road Pact? There's some association that is comprised of private residents living on Pali Hill.
Okay.
And they are in collaboration with the BMC, taking permissions and getting people employed to help take care of Pali Hill.
Okay.
So imagine 7 security guards.
Yeah.
Employed by a road association, paid for by the people on that hill, to go and make sure that every bit of construction taking place adheres to the norms.
I like it. I think that, these associations exist. Even where the road I stay, there's like that road ka association. But
is it a good thing for like citizens to like have to spend above and beyond if they can? And if they need to?
Absolutely. And I think that this is exactly what I mean when local level governance, empowering these bodies as much as they can really change the game. Can really, really change the game. That's what we've been missing out.
and we can donate to local bodies so that they have
Strengthen them.
some money, and you actually, by donating to them, can guarantee the work in your immediate neighborhood gets done.
I mean, think about it in a similar context. This Pali Hill Road Association is obviously an example of something outside a private entity. But if you look at within private entities, we've spoken about, building societies. There's a reason why they run like smooth, like well-oiled machines.
Yeah.
These cooperative housing societies are an association, and they have very, very strict demands.
Yeah.
Like tomorrow, in whichever building that, the kind of buildings we're talking about, if there's like trash, would you even find trash lying around? Never. Why? Because everybody in the building has said that we're not going to let this happen.
My building cooperator, like the guy who's supposed to walk around and make shit happen, is always walking around looking, and you'll see him if he spots something. Where is the cooperator of my locality or your locality walking around the streets even one? Has anyone seen him from any localities? Anyone seen their cooperator on the road? And have they seen them look at an overturned trash can that's been lying there for 2 weeks and just made a call being like, hey, why is this shit lying here? Pick it up. If nothing else, they should do that. And if nothing else, happy to pay someone. We have a labor shortage in our country. You could happily empower someone. This is not like super skilled labor. You don't have to be an engineer to go around telling people to cover up or stop working at 7 p.m. or, take certain dust control measures.
Yeah, no, absolutely. In fact, recently a mentor of mine was saying he was just so amazed by when he went to Thailand at how they've managed to do this so well, right? Like they try and keep it as clean as they can by using the labor to do the cleaning. They're just like, okay, let's put people on this job. Let's think it through at a systems level on how we can make it work. And I'm not saying that the BMC or any of the municipal corporations are not trying to do this, but clearly something is amiss, right? When you have a 33,000 crore budget, and Krish can fact check that in post, but I'm pretty sure that's the number, or at least that was the last budget.
It is multi 10,000 crore,
That is, look at the volume of that money, and what you get in return for that there's a huge gap, right? So
people are thinking about what could I get in return for that if I became the BMC commissioner.
I don't know. See,
where else is the money going?
I don't know.
Literally down the drains. Is that what's clogging them?
That's what they say. Hanlon's razor, right? That which is often attributed to malice can more often be attributed to stupidity. Sometimes I think it's just we didn't think this through enough.
Yeah, but these road construction things that have been widely reported on, and yet we know continues happen. Like every road you find is just constantly being redug up, right? It's not suddenly stopped once people started talking about it. People don't give a shit.
No, that is...
that's under the BMC's purview. That's I'd say a big chunk of their budget probably goes to road development.
But not even just your state, so that would fall under, if it's a state road,
but city
like
roads.
State government, or even you see it even with some national roads, although that's gone a lot better.
Same thing.
But this was one of the common scams you'd see back in the day, where essentially you'd get a preferred contractor through a deal, and they would intentionally not do it up to quality, because then you could essentially... It's a gift that keeps on giving, right? It's a money tree of sorts, because it'll constantly need work to be done. So, I think if you look at that book, which I've spoken about, Accelerating India's Development, the rot is to the core, because there was far greater dividends for broad promises and corruption. But to resolve that, you need to just strengthen state and local governance. And that actually, I think, would solve a lot of the problem, frankly. But I think you're seeing people in state governments want a change, right? Even in states, I don't know if we were going to talk about West Bengal, but I feel like this is a good segue. I've been to West Bengal. I worked there and I've gone to some of the most rural parts there. And I've seen the things that people talk about. So when people are like, oh no, this is, Godi media, or whatever the words that people say, is like, dude, no, it's not. Go there. It was a mess. It was a mess.
Infrastructure wise or what?
Everything. Infrastructure, desire to do business. They were losing business to states. when we were there and they were doing a bit of work on investment promotion and things like that, the government lost deals to Jammu. People would rather go to Jammu where there's actually been like terrorist attacks rather than starting a business in West Bengal because they're like, you know what, we just don't want to. Without making this very controversial, a lot of what they said about how badly it was administered, how there is a large percentage of the population there that were not eligible to vote but were voting. Some element of that is very much true. Very, very much true. I've seen it. Right? So you cannot gaslight me into believing that, oh, no, you have been brainwashed by an article you read. No, dude, I went there in a car and I saw it. And the driver said, actually, sir, idhar nahi jata hai, bahut khatarnak jagah hai, udhar se jata hai. Right? So when I have been in this situation...
वो मोड़ के जम्मू से जाते हैं.
So, I don't know. I think that people are obviously, if there's one thing that people constantly underestimate, I think this administration underestimated them at some level in the last general election, is the Indian voter. At some point, we get fed up and we expect a change.
Yeah, and that'll happen for both parties.
Yeah,
Dude,
nobody is safe. It happens to everybody.
Yeah,
Congress, I was there for 70 years, thought they were safe. Even their time came. Communists, which is my favorite news, are gone. They used to rule multiple states in India. Now there's no more party.
That even in the south, does it?
No, that was a big defeat, right? So the communists lost in Kerala as well.
Okay.
Yeah, to the Congress alliance. So, which meant that I think as of now, there is no state government that is majority communist. Which calls for a huge celebration.
Who would think that Puru would be celebrating a Congress win?
Yeah, I was celebrating a Congress win. But I think the change is good.
Yes.
It keeps state governments on their toes. It keeps state governments on their toes. In West Bengal, there was a deep rot with the last party. And people came out and voted in droves. There was a whole conversation about the SIR, which again, the news broke today. So the context is that in West Bengal, there was basically a special intensive revision, which was basically a deletion of voters who they suspected to be ineligible to vote from the voting rolls, the electoral rolls. And people said that they had gone and targeted minority communities to remove voters, right? That was a big claim. So you've basically disenfranchised however million people. And that's why the BJP won in West Bengal was the argument, which I think since there's been a lot of articles that have come out from statisticians and analysts who've said, okay, but even in, I believe, in the 21 constituencies with the highest SIR deletions, the incumbent party still won 13 out of 21 of those places. So that doesn't really hold, right? Technically, they should lose all of those if you've targeted and deleted those voting rolls. And there is an element, as I'm sure the news will continue to come out now, of people voting who should not have been voting. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Let the news fill those blanks. But there were people in that state who had come in, not by legal means, and had found a way to vote, is the claim. I think I will even wait and see. I'm willing to be proven wrong. Let's see what happens in this new government. If there is a legitimate
inquiry
into, okay, wow, these are the X amount of people that have been now since left that state, I think that will be very striking. Again, a lot of it I have seen. So I lean towards being like, okay, even with that, people were deeply fed up by the corruption and the lack of development in West Bengal, and something had to break. And for the feminists, I think, I would say it calls for big introspection, right? There was essentially 2 massive cases of sexual violence and rape, and the incumbent party basically did nothing. And those 2 women who were involved actually won seats in the election, right? On that ticket, on that promise that we want to come and change what it's like for our daughters in West Bengal to move around freely. So I think there's a lot there. I think there's obviously different sides to the argument. So yeah, go and read up more.
Yeah.
Don't go for the one Instagram summation.
Anyways, so on that note of like discussions of interfering with elections in some way and women on that, there was this thing that happened, I think, a month or a month and a half ago. The Women's Reservation Bill combined with the redoing of the census to help assign the proportion of parliamentary seats from the various states.
Correct.
And there were all these arguments on both sides of it. So the BJP sort of introduced this as let's do this as a pro-women thing.
Correct.
Okay, very left move.
Yeah.
Right? And they were doing it almost, I think, strategically like that, knowing this is something difficult for the opposition to push back against and sneak in this census to take place to readjust the parliamentary things. And the argument from the opposition was that, look, over the last 2 decades, because of population control measures given to us by the central government, the southern states have reduced their population relative to the northern states. And based on this census, it would shift more parliamentary power towards the north and help the incumbent government.
Correct.
The argument on the other side, and they are saying, why can't you just do this women's quota thing without doing the recensus?
Correct. Why now is essentially the argument, because the census was the big issue is that, like, not having the census done is, I would argue, one of the biggest challenges that as India have struggled with in the last decade. It should have happened. Because of COVID, it didn't. So think about this. Think about this. So much decision making is being done on 2011 data.
Yeah.
That is your census data set. So it's kind of insane if you think about it.
Yeah, it is insane.
Yeah.
And to their point of, say, hypothetically, this is true.
Yeah.
That, hey, the southern states have reduced their proportion of their population relative to the northern states. It is true. Everyone is saying it.
Yeah.
Does that mean we change our system of governance? Do we fundamentally change democracy because you all followed the rules? Yeah. Yes, there was a national advisory for states or for everyone to reduce population.
I didn't know if that was there. Was that there? Okay, I didn't know there was a...
From our textbooks. Population control. We've been learning this from children.
I didn't know if there was an advisory.
There has been on a state level and national level and a fundamental level of we need to tone down our population. We have applauded southern states over the years actually for keeping their population in check. Today they are saying that, hey, this puts us at a loss in a democratic context. I say, so what? That is what democracy... I mean, like, you're getting the benefits of having that lower population. Yes, y'all may have less national representation, but that is what democracy calls for. If y'all are in fact benefiting so much from it, it will reflect in other ways.
Yeah. I think in the same vein, there's a lot of fear generally that it's just going to change electoral patterns. But there was another bill we spoke about which is very similar, right? They said that right now, a lot of migrants are not allowed to vote when they're not out of state.
Yeah.
And there was a bill that passed that would help them with this. And if you think about it, that stops a current massive disenfranchisement, but people voted against because they know that there's migrants who maybe don't gel with that state and hence believe that it would change the voting patterns.
And the idea is out of state, like mail-in voting, like the issue in the US.
Yeah.
Right. Can
Ballot
I not
voting,
be in Mumbai? Like a lot of people
absentee
can't,
ballots.
Like, we have friends who fly to Delhi to vote and stuff like that, but not everyone, like the migrant population can't do that.
Yeah, and a lot of people take great pride. Even I know of a lot of that population that will actually they've taken a train, they'll take that day off work and go and vote because India is a place where your vote means a lot to you.
Yeah.
Right? It means a lot to you. If you look at the voter turnout, it's something that Indians cherish a lot, which is, I think, a beautiful thing in this democracy. So, but yeah, I think we have tough times ahead, man, no doubt. I think that you're seeing, we almost, I think, in a way prophetic if you go back to the earlier podcast episodes where I said a lot of what you saw happening in the West in terms of extreme polarization, I think it's happening even more and more here, where people are just refusing to talk to each other, right, from either side of the aisle, even though they might actually agree on a lot of things, but they're not even willing to have that space or confidence or security to say, hey, I disagree with this person, but let me talk to them and see what they say. So I think it's becoming a lot dirtier. It's becoming more toxic, as the kids say these days. It's getting tougher, right? And I think we are becoming more brittle also as far as holding an opinion goes. So I'm a little worried for sure. It doesn't help that there's an entire global crisis that's also unfolding with Iran and the Strait of Hormuz, and everything that's been going on.
Yeah, I had a friend, he was streaming Age of Empires, watching people play Age of Empires. I was like, bro, Age of Empires is going on right now. Turn on the TV, bro. What are you? Oof.
Truly.
It's like sometimes it was like waking up and for a couple of days in the middle there, every day was like a new episode dropping.
Yeah.
And I mean this, I know what people are going through. I'm only speaking about this because I'm trying to be honest about how it was being perceived after the initial wave hit you, that there's a war going on.
Yeah.
I swear to God, this happened in a building I was in. There were these 2 8-year-old kids, and then this auntie walked in and she looked at them. Ab tumhara Dubai holiday cancel. And he was like, "Kyun?" It's like, war shuru ho gaya wapas.
Yeah, it's a little
Like that. I'm not doing the voice. She didn't say it like seriously. She said it exactly how I said it. And I burst out laughing. I couldn't help it. I was laughing at how people we're so removed.
Yeah.
Like I literally will scroll from the war to like a Peaky Blinders supercut. So
But here's
it
the
is
thing.
hitting the same dopamine receptors.
Yeah. See, here's the thing. We're removed in that we don't feel the acute security threat, but we are in it in a bad way because of the energy.
The country is, but on the
Crisis.
flip side is like how many people do you know are traveling less because oil is now 150 a barrel?
But I think these people are the people who their opinion on this is fairly relevant because they don't feel the pinch as much. I mean, yeah, maybe they don't get to order a benne dosa because the closest benne dosa guy is having a LPG shortage crisis. But ask that guy, right? As of today, I think it's Air India and Indigo have agreed to a 22% cut in domestic routes for 2 months because of the price pressure they're facing because of the energy crisis. So it's getting like, I think when the Prime Minister comes and says that buckle down, I think that they would not say that unless they were really saying we're in for some tough times. So you need to, find a way to weather the storm. And I think most of the elites might not even feel it as much, but those who are not are really going to feel the pinch.
There's a great point been made about the gold, the sale of gold. So apparently, India's consumption of gold, like we import and buy a lot of gold abroad we import and buy a lot of gold.
Mm-hmm.
And we buy only about 1 to 2%, maybe I think 1.5%
Okay.
of the total gold that is actually here with us. We hoard gold. Like we're such gold hoarders that even though we buy so much from outside, we still buy only 1 to 1.5% of what we have within the country. So to people, this is a general PSA or a PSR, a public service request, is to sell 1% of your gold. And by the way, if you've had it for a while, you've gotten your return on it and more. It can't climb up much more. Like it jumped up so much in the last 2 years that right now, if every Indian sold 1% of their gold, who has? Mm-hmm. Because we have so much gold, we only buy annually 1.5% of what we have in this country. So if we just sold 1%, all that revenue would stay inside. And it's a huge amount.
I didn't.
So if I've got any of these numbers wrong, I will make I will like play up that video here and we'll make this as a short and we'll send it out because someone asked me to try to like get this message out there, and I even know some people who are helping facilitate something like this to help facilitate the transactions.
Yeah.
But there is a financial logic to it where you are benefiting.
Yeah. The only tough thing is the first thing you do in a crisis is buy gold. So that is why they're even proposing these measures, is because you have to somehow counter against our natural instinct, which is if there's a global economic crisis, I'm buying gold.
But I think on the flip side is just looking at the numbers, it didn't even recoil from the last crisis and it stayed high. Yeah. So you might as well sell. You bought and sell.
The thing is, people don't like
it's going to dip.
No, the thing is, it's black swan, right? People don't know, like, what if this takes us to a Last of Us kind of situation and things are truly just when a new world.
You think there are bunkers out there, bro?
Of course there are bunkers.
Like there are those bunkers all the billionaires have access to bunkers.
100%.
It's already like they've decided.
Panic rooms, like, bunkers. Yeah. In fact, I think there was a guy, I don't know in India how much, but abroad, I remember there was a guy who was telling me that his business was going and installing these for
Panic
like
rooms I
billionaires
get
and millionaires.
in your own
Not
house. but
panic rooms, like like
I
safety
mean like
bunkers. And,
no, I mean a government aided plan to have the super elites be rescued and stay in an underground
I don't know about this.
10,000, 5,000, 300 person facility, which is being prepped for, and we wouldn't know, but everyone who knows. And they get a call, and that day they drop all their shit and they just walk and they just act normal. They don't tell anyone.
Yeah,
If
like
you
a
ever
Fallout type
if you ever see
situation.
if you ever see like a super billionaire dude around you for whatever reason, go like, see his phone, then check himself. Hey guys, I'm just gonna take this and start. Just follow him. Do not let him out of your sight till you see him like enter like some other space. But if he goes towards the airport, catch a same flight, and just reach that bunker.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe maybe I'm sure as hell not going to.
Or sell your gold.
Sell your gold. Yeah.
If you don't think that.
Sell your gold.
Like, we don't live like it's gonna happen, right?
Yeah.
You know, this guy's about all these bunkers. This dude was like, all these guys, these billionaires with their bunkers. Like, I asked one of their, some podcasters, like, I asked one of their private security. They were like, oh, I would just shoot the guy and just take all his shit. It's like, what do you think? I would just, like, escort him there by, so enjoy this. I will handle the nuclear.
True, I will
handle the nuclear fallout on my own.
Yeah. In a true Fallout situation, I don't think we know what's going to happen.
So sell the gold.
I don't know what's going to happen.
You're not going to it's someone else use that gold brick to be hitting people, bro. That's it.
Yeah, I think... but I think if there's one thing that will get us through is like an immense resilience I think we have as a people around the world, but I think India has shown time and time again, like in one of the toughest crises in COVID, amid the horrors of the different waves, people stayed resilient. And I think that's the thing that will likely get us through this crisis as well. And hopefully quick deal making at the political level to end this. But right now it doesn't seem like there's any... And I mean, there's a lot of conversation about, we're coming close to an agreement. There's an agreement. There's a ceasefire. The ceasefire is violated. So I don't know how soon these things are going to end. But you would think when you see certain people's lifestyle that it doesn't matter at all. Like, things just are going on as
and not just here. Like, everywhere people can find their own bubbles. There was that famous video back when this whole war in, Israel and Palestine started. About, I think they were in Lebanon, where they were like partying and just like on a rooftop with those missiles.
Oh, you see the missiles going.
Would that geography work out? Like, Lebanon would have like...
Yeah, I mean, because they were drawn into the conflict as well, right?
No, but are they not bordering?
Well, I mean, but no, there was a lot of missile activity above Lebanon as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're just like people are partying.
Yeah. But I think a lot of times those regions, they're so used to that level of warfare and drone fighting and all, like...
There was this video in Israel of missiles hitting somewhere and debris falling into the ocean where these people were surfing, and they caught a few more waves. You see them surfing and just a huge amount of debris from a missile fracture has like fallen down, and then they're looking back and catching waves. Just like, what can you... Like those fit guys in Palestine, there's this like Insta, he's like in Palestine every day showing what it takes to be a fitness person during the war. Wow. He's like cooking up shit, there's bombs going off. He's doing his push-ups, and his whole thing is that it's like crazy. People have resilience, man. Indians,
have resilience.
People, everyone.
Everybody has resilience.
People are designed
constantly
to
fascinates me.
Just survive anything.
And I think people need to constantly remind themselves of this. And I'll tell you this because I think there's a story that's trending now, which I just find hilarious. But there's that guy, I think it was a Diary of a CEO, or I forget his name again. We'll put up the blurb.
I know him, Stephen Bartlett.
Was it Stephen Bartlett? Okay.
Yeah.
So he's under fire for essentially, he came on a podcast and he said that he hasn't been drinking. He quit drinking when he was 30, I believe. And then at 33, he decided to have a couple of glasses of wine. I think he had 3 glasses of wine. And he basically proceeds to say how it incapacitated him. It messed up his next day and the next day. And his, circadian rhythm got messed up, and then he couldn't sleep. And he was so unable to function that he even couldn't do a podcast episode. And I was just like, yeah, I'm sure this is not the right direction to be going in. We are getting so it's this exercise in vanity, right? And I'm not in the clear. I'm wearing a fitness tracker as well. And even I have to catch myself, because you can legit wake up having had great sleep, check your app and be like, oh, it only shows a sleep score of 60. I must not have slept well. It's like, no, man, don't, like, you are essentially putting yourself in this headspace where you're not ready to take on the day. Right. And I love all these people have like then been putting up all these stories. Apparently, like Michael Jordan in his heyday on the golf course, making bets, having like a 30 rack of beer and then going and doing like a 30-point game that night. So obviously alcohol is not good for you in any capacity. But I think this level of, I believe again, the kids, Krish is here, the kids these days call it health maxing, right? Where you basically want to take this entire data profile of yourself and make yourself this by the data healthiest person, and you're potentially giving up on just having a great time with your friends. Stepping out, having, making a fool of yourself, playing in the rain, I don't know, doing things that your whoop will say you shouldn't be doing, but your heart says that you should. So I think we need to also dial that back and realize that we're resilient as a species, right? You can deal with, a couple of nights of bad sleep, figure it out. Don't agonize yourself over a data set. So I think it's obviously reaching a stage where people are making it their entire personality, right? I know of some people who, have multiple trackers. They're wearing 2-3 at the gym. And it's just like this constant exercise in, it's making you healthy, but also maybe a little neurotic. It's this pursuit of vanity. It's a lot. We can also all fall prey to it. I do too every now and then, but I think we're losing a bit of our ability to live,
What does bother me, not bother me, it's like, say a pet peeve of mine is those like performative, like this health maxing where people are like, Saturday nights like these, and it's like a book and a wine and a candle, and they're telling you everything that's there except that tripod and the light and all this stuff that they've set up. And I was like, bro, a Saturday night like this is rarely done in front of camera. If you want to rage at a concert and tell me that's what you're doing on a Saturday night, that makes sense. You would have your phone out there to take a video of that stuff. But to set up your book, to set up this and to frame it using like a rule of 3 framing and stuff, like you said, it's beautifully framed. How, like what? You're just like magician. You're a magician.
You just happen to...
You stand like this, take your phone out and it comes out like that.
It's...
With like some bougie words at the top, flip to a page I know you have not reached. You are not on page 197. You just started this book. 2 minutes. You may not have even started it.
You might have just...
You might have just decided that this evening you're going to read. And then you'll do this. You'll take your photo. You'll post it. Then you'll start reading 1-2 pages in. You'll want to see how many people have reacted to the story.
Of course.
Of you reading.
So you're like reading, taking your phone.
Taking your phone out.
Did that specific guy or girl who I wanted to see my story see it? No? Okay. Let me come back. Let me keep reading and then check later.
Nights like these. And what is it? Some like infuriatingly cringe caption like this and, it's like this and no calls from work or some shit like that. This and no calls from work. And it's a picture of...
What I love it is that you're saying this and no calls from work, and your choice when you're getting no calls from work is to be on your phone. Bro.
And to sit and orchestrate a post for it on your Instagram. Aesthetic, clearly,
I mean, you work in this space. I didn't even know about rules of 3 and all. But you're saying people are doing this on a casual shot.
Like on a casual shot. It's not casual.
It's not casual.
It's not casual. This stuff is really important. And I don't say it's not important. Look, we all like, if I wear a nice shirt, and I want to make sure it's like hopefully ironed well. And if it's not, I prefer to be ironed well. It's how you present yourself and the weight you give to it. And it's like that thing we talked about, like, maybe we'll just end on this point because we're really running late now. But just for example, there was a time when a girl would get like annoyed at a guy or a guy would get annoyed at a girl because he went for a kiss at a party and she didn't like the PDA. So there could be a fight within the couple that, hey, you're not okay with, like, it's not PDA, it's just showing affection. They'd have that and she's like, I don't like PDA, or she's like, I don't like PDA. And it's that typical, right? Not in an Akash Singh way, I'm just saying in a general, normal way. Now that same PDA fight happens online. Like, hey, you didn't like and share my photo.
Oh, wow. Stuff happens,
or you like that other girl's photo. You're portraying yourself socially online. So it holds that weight to people.
Yeah, it is the new public.
It's your
it
new
is the
public forum,
right?
So like I get it, but I just know there's not a lot of reading happening on those Instagram nights. It's mostly wine and cheese eating and
Yeah.
checking your
Checking your phone.
instantaneous response on the likes. Oh, it's been 3 minutes and I've got, oh my God, 71 people have seen it. Should this be a post?
Oh God, yeah. Good
nights
point.
like these.
Night-
Nights like
Nights
these.
like these, guys. This
and
is-
nothing else.
and nothing else.
I think that's a good note to end it on. I'm going to have a beer and ruin my next 3 days, Stephen Bartlett. Chalo, guys, thank you so much for watching this episode. We will see you soon. We're going to be doing some spotlight content as well.
Yeah, some more interesting stuff coming.
Puru's got some stuff lined up for you guys. And as always, thank you for watching this episode. We hope you enjoyed it. Check out our channel, like this video, subscribe to the page, and we'll see you next time.
See you soon.
Cut.